back to the drawing board as trade unions reject Eskom's offer of a 3.75% salary increase. Well, the struggling utility says it simply does not have the money for more, but unions are demanding a 15% pay increase. eNCA reporter Heidi Giokos is following these developments. Let's cross to her now. Good afternoon, Heidi. So the unions, especially the National Union of Mine Workers, which got lots of members in Eskom, is saying workers are being undermined by Eskom's offer. Tell us more.
Yes, certainly. I think these wage talks are critical given the energy crisis that we are facing at this stage. But the demand on the table from all three unions, that includes NUMSA as well as Solidarity, is 15%. And of course, this is critical in terms of Eskom saying that they do not have the funds and the means to stick to that offer of 15%. They only have 3.75%, and this is what they've put on the table. But I know we were going to be listening to NUM, but we've actually just quickly grabbed Solidarity. Gideon Du Plessis, who is from Solidarity, thank you so much for your time. A lot was said during that briefing, and I think what's imperative here is that unions, all three of you, are rejecting the 3.75% that's been offered by Eskom, especially because it's below inflation. It's not anywhere near inflation, 7.1%, and you're sticking to the demand of 15%. Do you think that this is a fair demand given the state of Eskom's finances?
Yeah, this was the first round. So obviously whatever the union's positions are at the moment is the first round. We gradually then move through the process. Solidarity's demand is above CPI, so we say it's CPI plus 3%. But that's our opening position, correct. But what made it difficult is a negotiation normally starts off with a company, and that's the norm, doing a presentation regarding their financial positions, regarding all the things that we need to know before we can actually present our demands, and they failed to do so. So the fact that we rejected the 3.75, that was not backed up by anything. So we are, at the moment, we need to read in the media what we need to know about Eskom, but they were not well prepared to come and present their financials, to come and present, all their challenges, because that will put us in a much better position to respond. So the fact that we haven't made a move, the fact that we rejected it, is due to a lack of information.
So of course it's just round one. There are another 2 rounds that need to happen before any critical decision is made in terms of workers down tooling or whatever it might be. But you mentioned in your press briefing that Eskom was sloppy, it was ill-prepared, and perhaps just tell us how crucial these talks are, because we are in an energy crisis. We are currently in stage 6. Well, we are told we are in stage 6. It feels like it's stage 10. But how critical are these talks, and how damning is it for Eskom to come here ill-prepared, according to all three unions, and not have a sufficient offer on the table?
Yeah, first of all, this is the most important wage negotiation for the year. So the one thing is you don't want sideshows, and at the moment we get so distracted with the fact that they're not prepared. There's a lot of arrogance also in the negotiations, and all of that just adds to the tension in the room. And if we can just reduce that, because those are things that we've got control over. Those are the things that Eskom needs to control. They need more discipline on their side. From us as the union, we also need to be open-minded, because in the end, our members, not only working at Eskom, all our members working all over the country, especially the mining and the manufacturing industry, their livelihood also depends on this negotiation. So we don't have an Eskom focus, we have a national focus when we negotiate. So we hope after this rocky start that if we get on the 8th of May start with the next round where Eskom will do the presentation, what they are supposed to do this week, that will set the right tone, and we can ask the right questions, and then from there on hopefully we'll have a constructive meeting. But we will also engage with Eskom's top management and say that we are dissatisfied with some of the team members creating tension, and if they can be removed, I'm sure all the issues around the personal issues and the personal insults that is currently part of the process is something that will be the past, and then we can move in a more productive way.
Of course, wage negotiations are always robust in nature, but it's rather concerning hearing from all three unions about the ill preparedness of the power utility. Just lastly, a lot of blame, and it's actually been presented here by all three unions, but I'm interested to know what Solidarity's view is on this, that there's a narrative out there that a lot of the blame is at the door of workers because of this load shedding that we are experiencing. But there's a bigger picture here. It's not workers. Workers are doing all that they can to keep our lights on, but they're obviously working in very difficult circumstances and under very difficult circumstances.
That's our big challenge, because first of all, we represent mainly skilled workers, so they are demotivated, so they work very long hours under difficult circumstances. Wherever they go within the community, they had to endure all kinds of insults for working for Eskom. So we need to retain those skills, and that is why we're looking at above inflation increase, but it all depends on Eskom sustainability as well, and we need to be open-minded, but we're representing a workforce that needs to be motivated after this negotiation. They need to be productive, and that's what we need to achieve. In the end, whatever some of the arguments that Eskom used around their high debt issues, etc., that was caused by top management and senior politicians. And the workers cannot take the blame for that, and that's why we are here to protect them and to protect their interest in the interest of the country.
Sure, certainly. Thank you so much for your time. We do appreciate it. That is Gideon du Plessis, who is from Solidarity Bradan. And as he mentioned, these are the most critical and crucial wage talks for the year, and one must remember that it is 15% for the next 2 years. But of course, Solidarity is asking for above inflation plus 3%, so it's around 10% that Solidarity is asking for, whereas NUM and NUMSA have stuck to that 15%. I must say that it is concerning, and it seems rather bleak given what these three unions have alleged with regards to the behaviour and conduct of Eskom during the first round of wage talks. There are still another 2 rounds that are set to take place, but from the first round it seems as though unions are not satisfied with the engagement and interaction with Eskom.
Interesting how these negotiations are going to go, Heidi. Where I agree with you, and I'm sure many other South Africans, this is not stage 6. It's more than stage 6. Thank you very much, Heidi Giokos there, just giving us an update and chatting to Solidarity, one of the trade unions at Eskom. The negotiations are underway. The union's rejecting Eskom's offer of 3.75%. The demand is 15%. We'll have to wait and see how the negotiations will progress.